79, at the end of 1979, when basically I became unemployable because I had just about done every job there was, and my resume was that thick, and nobody was going to employ me, right? And so I looked into the world of selling, and I probably had the same sort of what, how can I put this? Same feelings about selling as most of you do, most people do, and it was really about sort of the last place to go, as it were. Well, as it turned out, it was the best place for me because it offered me a lot of things, which I won't go into right now. But what I discovered, and what I did, I sold solar energy systems in Southern California, in Los Angeles. And for the first 3 months, I didn't make anything. I was $5,000 in debt. So this is 1979. So I was $5,000 in debt. Got deeper in debt. And then I discovered apartment buildings and worked out how to sell those apartment buildings and made $85,000 for the remainder of 1980. Which was a lot of money if you think about it. It's probably close to, I know, $400,000, $500,000 nowadays if you were to translate that through. And I really liked it, but what I discovered is that I really hated the process, the whole process of selling, and made me very uncomfortable. But I learned how to do it because I thought that's what you had to do, and that's what I was told to do. I was, the very conventional way of presenting what your opportunity is, closing as quickly as you can, and handling everyone's objections, comments, and concerns as, not objections, questions, comments, and concerns as objections to be overcome. And it was, to me, a very combative way of selling. Like, there was no sort of, it was me against them, us against them. And I sought a lot of help, but used to get the standard answers about selling. And but there was one guy I noticed who did things with effortless ease. I mean, he made the same amount of money as I did, but he worked 4 times less at it. And his name was Bob Brandis, and I used to go with him. He invited me one time to go on these visits, these apartment building visits, one of his leads. And basically it was a sort of 2-visit approach. You went and spoke to the apartment owner, checked out the building, make sure everything could fit in there, got a lot of details about the apartment, and then went away and came back again and did a presentation. But he did it differently, and I didn't sort of really understand what he was doing at the time. And he spoke about creating relationships and so on. But here's the thing. I went with him twice, and each time I never saw him directly present or tell the client anything unless he was asked. I never saw him close in the conventional sense, and I never saw him handling objections or treating anything that the client said as an objection to be overcome. And I wasn't that wise enough to sort of to isolate all those things at that time. And he wasn't good enough to understand what he was doing. He was good. It's known as a competence, as unconscious competence. In other words, he was good, but he didn't know why he was good. So he wasn't able to teach it. And so I resolved that there had to be more to this, and decided to look into it. And that's how it evolved. It went through many, many years of evolution until utilizing sort of various sort of approaches. Larry Wilson's asking questions that got me started, went through various other things, spin selling and so on. But with all of them, they had one thing, and one thing was all about getting the sale, virtually everything book you look at, it's all about geared towards getting the sale. And what I worked out is that if you can let go of getting the sale and focus your objectives on something different, the sale will happen naturally if there is one to be made. But so many sales are lost because of the conventional approach that pushes people away from us, whereas we want to attract them to us. And the way to attract people is to focus on them, not on ourselves. Is to focus on their needs, not our needs. Not our needs to make a sale, not our needs to build our business, not our need to tell them what we have, to get a business card in their hands, to get them to a webinar, to a meeting, to talk about how great our products. It's got nothing to do with us. It's all to do with them. And if you know how to talk with them, they will tell you everything that you need to know about, first of all, whether there is a potential sale to be made in the first place. And they will tell you exactly how to present to them so as to make it very compelling for them to want to get involved with you. So it's really kind of that process. And that's the evolution over the years. And it took me many years to get to that point. It was did I say 1997? It was 1979 when I did this. So it was 1980 that I had the breakthrough. And it was 1997 that I started natural selling. It took about a year to get it going. And then it took off like a rocket because it resonated with a lot of people. So anyway, that's my story. So enough about me. How about you?
That's a pretty good story, right? So well, you mentioned, okay, so a couple of things you mentioned here about like letting go. So when somebody starts with their business, like any, I don't know, tips or ways for people, because I find a lot of people, including myself, sometimes get attached to what the person, like without the outcome. Yeah, like it's almost like I want to talk to this person. I see them as a prospect, right? And I want to show them my business. So I'm attached, I have an agenda. And I mean, I read your book, so I understood, but how would you, let's say,
okay, so here's a clue for you then. So the question is, would all of you like to have people attracted to you and your business? Yes? Raise your hands if everybody.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, of course, right? So here's the clue. Here's the irony. And life's full of irony and contradictions. And I discovered that it's where the truth is where the contradiction is. So if you want to have people interested in you and your business, then here is the truth. Do not talk about you and your business.
That's a new challenge.
Yeah, so what do you do then? And I'll answer it for you. You talk about them and who they are and what they're looking for. And as you do that, and you do it with detachment, so you're not attached to the outcome of even the conversation itself. You're not attached to having to tell them about your business. You just let it go. And that's the irony of the whole thing. And that's what makes it work. Okay? When you detach from that, you become interesting. If you want to be interesting, then be what? Be anyone? Be interested. If you want to be interesting, be interested. Be interested in them. Because after all, we're talking about change. People changing from where they are right now, okay, to where they want to go. And the only way you can find out if there is a potential to change is to what?
Ask more questions.
You could ask them.
Yeah.
See, presenting is a no-win game. If you go and tell most network marketers are told to tell their story. Well, who cares about your story? I don't care about your story. I care about my story, right? And my story is relevant to me. Your story is not relevant to me. So I don't care what you say about you, about how you felt, what you found, and how the business is doing. You got the greatest products. I don't care anything about that because none of that resonates with me. It might do. You might get lucky and find someone. But basically, it doesn't resonate with me. I don't care about you. I care about me. Same as from my point of view, I know that people don't care about me in the context we're talking about. Okay, so it's important for me to find out about them. And I'm going to find out specific things. And a person will only change from what they're doing right now to where they're going based on two things. And that's the measure of discomfort they're feeling about their present situation right now, in the present moment, how they're feeling about their present situation right now. Okay, and the other one is their desire to make a change, to go and make a change to where they're going. And the only way you can find out is to what? Ask questions. Because after all, I'm going to run you through. Would you all participate in this? Raise your hands if you'll all participate in this. Okay, so I'm going to ask you right now yourselves, okay? Who knows what you want about anything in life? Who knows about what you want?
I do.
You do. Who knows why you want it?
I do.
Who knows how you're preventing yourself from getting it?
I do.
Who knows what you've done about getting what you want?
I do.
Who knows what you would do if you didn't know what you could do if you could to get what you want? You do. Okay, who knows how you feel about not having what you want?
I do.
Who knows how you would feel if you did have what you want?
I do.
And who knows how much you're prepared to do what it takes to get what you want?
I do.
So who has all the answers?
I do.
So all we need, or I need, are the right types of questions to ask you for you to reveal all those answers. And you're going to tell me what you want, why you want it, how much you're prepared to do it, and I'll know whether in fact to make a presentation to you. And I'll know exactly what to say to you to turn you on. Does that make sense?
Any question? So what would be a right type of question? Because there's a lot of question out there, and sometimes I found myself going out and asking all kinds of questions, but it's not leading anywhere. Mm-hmm. Right? You've experienced that too, yeah?
Well, you tell me, because what you're doing is you're attempting to find out with somebody, and you meet people a lot of different circumstances. I mean, a lot of different people. For example, your friends. You can break your friends down into different categories if you like. So driving type people, social, quiet, analytical type people. You have to kind of address each person as they come along, but strangers as well. Business associates, acquaintances. There are lots and lots of different ways that you approach people. So you have to work out how you're going to start off with a question with them that will, if you like, an effective conversation starter, and it's different from each person. So with a friend, you could dive right in, somebody for some time. Except here's the deal: is that many times you actually don't know your friends. I mean, the truth is you don't know your friends. You'll spend years. You probably spend about 10, 20 years with them, and I'll guarantee that most times we don't know our friends. And the reason is that we never ask them about who they are, and when we do ask them about who they are, we never listen. We're too interested in telling about how we are. Have you ever gone, have you ever sort of done this yourself, or someone's done this to you? You've gone on holiday, gone on vacation, and someone says, so how was it where you went? You said, oh, it's great. We went to blah, blah, blah. They go, yeah, I've been there myself. We had a great experience about that. Did you go to that cafe? Da, 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 right? And what happens is that they take over the conversation. Why? Because they're not interested in listening to you and your experience. They're only interested in listening to them and their experience and telling you about it. Is that true?
Yes.
You do that to people yourself?
Yeah.
See, we never listen. And so listening is sort of a really key thing here. And so, one of the things you can do is go back to the friends that you have left.
They're all here.
There you go. You go back to your friends that you have left, and you engage them in conversation, a quiet, gradual conversation. You don't have to dive in. If you've dived in there because you were enthusiastic. And here's another thing: your enthusiasm is an asset, but your asset can get in your way. Your enthusiasm can get in your way. So keep your enthusiasm within yourself. You're sort of anxious. If you're sort of out there trying to push stuff on people go, whoa, wait a second, who is this person? I don't know what happened to Anne-Marie. This is not the Anne-Marie I knew. So you have to sort of ease into these conversations gently. But one of the things is to find out more about them, find out about their life. Where they're living, whether they like where they're living, their job, whether they like their job, whether they don't like their job. And you get into sort of what they do if they could do differently. They start telling you, their present situation. So their present situation, which is sort of uncomfortable for a lot of people. They don't like it, but they live with it. Okay, they're talking with it right now, one-on-one, and you're not getting in your own way. You're not getting in their way. You're not getting on your own way. So you ask them questions. Yeah, certain types of questions you can ask. And a lot of your questions are going to come from the answers to the previous questions. And you have a conversation. And if you know what you're doing, you can help that person to reveal what's happened in the past, bring it into the present moment. And you can start talking about the future and bring that in the present moment. And you bring the two together. And then you end up by saying, so basically is one way of doing it. Say, so what if there's a way you could change that? What if there's a way that you could get all that self-fulfillment? Make more money so you can take the kids on vacation and feel good about yourself. To be able to work part-time. To be able to give up your job eventually so you can take care of your kids at home. That type of thing. Okay, we're talking about sort of business opportunities right now. Okay, that's where you want to get to. And they can only say yes, no, or maybe to you. Okay, and they're not saying yes, no, maybe to your product or to your business opportunity or anything else like that. Because have you spoken about your business opportunity? Yes or no?
No.
No. All you've spoken about is about who? It's about them. That's the whole conversation. And in that conversation, they will they will look upon you as if they not already done so, and it'll come stronger, as a person they know, like, and trust. What goes through their mind is, and this is not manipulation, this is just normal psychological process. What goes through their mind is that, boy, this person really knows me. And the only reason you know them is what? Why? Because you asked them questions and you listened and you responded to their answers without getting in the way or breaking in with your own interpretation, or getting upset because what they're saying is perhaps against your beliefs and values and stuff like that. You don't have to agree with someone to listen to them, for example. Okay, write that down if you want. You don't have to agree with someone to listen to them. And so the whole conversation is based on that. So, for example, as a conversation started, you could call a friend, okay, a close friend, and you could ask this question. I could say, for example, Anne-Marie, you and I have known each other for a long time, and I've been going through a few changes recently. But let me ask you a question. Something has come up with me a great deal. If there's one thing you could change in your life that would make a huge difference in your life, or even in your profession, what would that be? And she's going to give me an answer.
Yeah, like the ability to coach better, or to motivate, inspire people better in my business.
But if you ask someone you know about, especially on the personal side, usually it'll fall into one of four categories. Or all four, or two or three. It'll be about money. It'll be about time. It'll be about freedom, or it'll be about health. That's what people will answer to. And each one of those, except for health in your case, I believe, is that you have the ability to what?
To give them
if someone's looking for more time, more money, more freedom, do you have the ability? Do you have the ability to help them?
Yeah, we have a solution.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Hey, listen, I've been making a good living out of this for 17 years, so it's been making sense for me as well. I've actually been selling for 32 years. I started in 1979. Is it 32 years? Something like that. So you're getting a good idea what it's about?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all about that.
So is it, it's all about them. I was going to ask, is it about you? No, your business is about you, about them. Your business has to breathe. So the whole thing is this, you get back to basics, is what's the reason? What's the greatest fear that most distributors, salespeople, direct salespeople have that holds them back from talking with people or eventually talking with people about their business? What's the greatest fear?
Rejection.
Fear of rejection, yeah. And how do you feel about rejection, or when you're going to talk with someone, you feel you're going to get rejected? How does that make you feel?
Uncomfortable, for sure.
Uncomfortable. Yeah, it's really uncomfortable. Holds you back. Holds most salespeople back from picking up the phone. That's why quotas, for example, in the sales field are met near the end of the month, because there's pressure to be able to do that. Whereas if you came from a place of comfort and wanting to help people as well as achieve what it is that you want to help for yourself, you'd be making phone calls throughout the whole month. You wouldn't be meeting quotas in the last 3 or 4 or 5 days of the month. You'd be meeting them in the first 3 or 4 days of the month, and the rest would be plain sailing. But the point is, we hold ourselves back because this fear of rejection, which is what made me seek this, because I hated the rejection, and I hated sort of treating people's comments and questions and concerns as objections to be overcome, because they're not. They're just questions, comments, and concerns. However, if you talk with them in a conventional way, they are objections. What they're doing is they're objecting to your behavior. And the moment you try telling them stuff without finding out what it is that they're looking for or why they're looking for, if they're looking for anything, they build up barriers. And the more you pressure, more you tell, the barrier goes up, goes up. Do you think they're listening to you as you're talking? Yes or no? And it goes up and it just goes up, like this. And now you've created this barrier. That's what this is. You create the barriers of resistance. And then you have to use techniques to try and break down the barriers. Except the techniques make the barriers even stronger. And make them even stronger. So who creates all this resistance, do you think?
Yeah, we do.
We do.
Yeah.
We create it. So if we are the creators of our own universe, do you think that we can create something different?
Absolutely.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, of course we can. We can create anything we want. Anything we want. It's all up here. And it's just a matter of reprogramming what's up here. And what's up here with regards to selling is based on how probably most salespeople have treated us, what we've read in books, what we've seen in movies and films and so on, which is all about pressure, 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 and the silver-tongued salesperson. And does that work? Sure, it works. It works. It works for a small percentage of the population, about 15 to 17%, who happen to be driver personalities who really don't care. They're almost psychopaths in a way. Excuse me if there's any psychopaths in the room, but anyway. No, it is. It's sort of a psycho. It's a psychopathic, sociopathic. I should say. It's a mentality where it's hard for those types of people to differentiate between doing what they focus on, because they're very focused. They're very powerful people to have on board. They're very focused, and it's almost sort of Machiavellian. The means justifies the ends. You know, they're very driven people. So it doesn't matter what they do, is that they will get to that goal. And in the process, you know, people get hurt, but they don't see that. And you can't blame them and say, you know, you're a bad person. It's just that their tendency is they don't see that they're hurting people. So, you know, there's no right or wrong in this. And so, you know, you have to allow those people that breath. But these are the people who made up the rules of selling. And it only works for a maximum 15% of people. So do you think it works for the other 85% of people? No. And that was proven by the DSA statistics, which shows that 85% of people drop out of network marketing. And why do they do that? It's because the rules were written by these drivers and they don't have an alternative. So they have these rules driven into them about going out, telling a story, presenting as soon as you can, close as soon as you can, handling and overcome objections, using tricky techniques like feel, felt, found, which only increases the resistance. And it's not as though that 85% can't do it, because they can. We can do anything. But they won't do it because it's not within their own, if you like, personality style. And that's where this whole process of natural selling comes in, which is a holistic way of helping people to internally look at and persuade themselves that what they've got isn't working for them. Talking about it in the present moment, bringing the future possibilities in and saying, you know, my life is not that great. And this person seems to understand me. And when you come and say, I might know of something that will allow you to move from here to here, they're going to say, internally, I'm going to listen to it. They might be cautious. They might say, maybe, depends on what you got. And you'll find some people say, yeah, tell me, what have you got? You obviously know something. Is this making sense?
Yes. Yeah.
Right? So the critical distinction between conventional selling techniques is that conventional selling techniques are designed to persuade people to do what you want them to do. Natural selling comes from a holistic point of view, which is through asking questions and listening and detaching from the outcome and letting the other person persuade themselves. Because as they talk with you, they listen to themselves, they listen to their problems, they listen to their present situation about not living where they really want to live, about not having the lifestyle that they really want to have, how they feel about not being able to take care of their kids properly, and so on and so forth. And they listen to that. And as they listen to that, they feel it. They feel it. The emotions come up, and internally they make the resolution, I've got to do something about this. I don't know if I want to live with this anymore. And what you're doing is coming from a place of help. And so this isn't sort of you pressing to do this. This is them telling you. Some people are perfectly happy where they are. Some people have got great lives and they wouldn't change it for a moment. And you're not going to do anything there with them. Okay? You're not going to help them at all because they're already helped. They've helped themselves. Some people are very uncomfortable. Some people are uncomfortable with their lives in all aspects of their lives, but they've lived with it so long that they become comfortable with their discomfort. So you might not change them. I shouldn't say you change them. You might not help them to change themselves. Notice my wording there. Okay, it's easy to slip back in sort of old terminology, right? So just notice my wording there. Is that you might not help them to change themselves. It might be a gradual process. It might be you just backing off and letting go when you say, I might know of a way that to allow you to get what you want. They said, no, I'm not interested. I tried all that kind of stuff. And you go, okay, well, if you should ever change your mind, let me know, because I help people like you to do that kind of stuff, to move forward. And I'm around, give me a call. Or if you want, I'll give you my phone number, give me a call. And they'll remember that conversation. And it'll go through their minds. And sometimes what'll happen is, not always, sometimes they'll call you, say, you said something really interesting. You didn't say anything at all. They said it. But they think you came up with that. And you look like a fascinating, interesting, knowledgeable, nice, trustworthy person. And that's what it's all about.
And we are.
Sorry for the long kind of preamble there.
No apology. It's what we needed.
So percentage-wise, from what you've just discussed, those that won't change, those that are comfortable in their discomfort, talking about the population, that percentage, how many are out there that would need our help if you broke it down in percentage?
There's a potentially analytical person for you. Good job.
I'm not an engineer. No.
I don't think there are any statistics. I don't have any stats on it. I mean, it varies. I can't give you a number on that. Even anecdotally, I don't know. It just varies so much all the time. So I've never sort of really tracked that. So I can't answer it for you. All you can do is go through the process. Also, it depends on sort of how skillful you become. You don't have to be skillful. Just the moment you start doing this, the moment you start doing it, understanding it, you'll find a difference in people's attitudes towards you. You can't do anything wrong with this. You just got to do it. It's like there's three things which I find would help people make successful, and maybe this will help you a little bit too. And again, I go back to your question. I'm sorry I can't answer that. The three things is something I went through with Anne-Marie. Is that you've got to have a willingness to learn, okay? You've got to have a willingness, in a sense, to unlearn what you already know. And if something like this resonates, you're going to have to unlearn stuff. And you're going to have to replace it with stuff. You don't have to get rid of it necessarily. There are some things you can get rid of. You have to replace, what you already know with something new. So there's a willingness to learn. Now, we all know pretty much you have a willingness to learn. Why do we know that?
We're here.
Yeah, because we're here. Okay, that's the easy part, right? So then the next one is really a desire to succeed. Now the question is, do you have a desire to succeed? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah. See, now that's a tricky question, because most people will say, yeah, I have a desire to succeed. But here's what success is going to take. And success means different things to different people. We tend to look upon success as sort of, being wealthy, and not that we all do, but, there's certain things. Success means different things to different people. And if you ask them, they'll tell you, is that in order to, this is not about success, this is about change. Okay, this is about us willing to change what we're thinking, what we're saying, what we're doing. Okay, in order to achieve that difference in ourselves. And before we can help people change, who's got to understand change first? We do. We have to understand change first. And we, in effect, become change agents. We have to think of ourselves as change agents. And change, do you think that's hard or difficult for a lot of people?
Yeah, hard.
Well, the irony is it can be as easy as that, or it can be hard. Let's look at change for a moment. Everyone on who's watching, okay, just put down what you've got there. Just cross your arms, and keep them folded. Don't do anything. Just keep them folded. Cross your arms. Okay. Now look around you. Some of you. Oops. Let me do this. Okay. So some of you got your arms folded like this. Some of them like that. Some like that. Look around. Don't do anything. Just look. Okay. All right. Okay. So right this very moment, change your arm fold.
I still have a hard time.
It's kind of not that easy for some of you, is it?
Uncomfortable.
I mean, you've invested 20, 30, 40 years of your lives in folding your arms this way, right? And now someone comes along and says, change. And that's essentially what a lot of network marketers do. They're saying, change. I can show you how to do that. It's like, what would make a big difference in your life? Okay, well, having more money. And they go, I can show you how to do that. If you know, or the classic one is, if I could show you how to do that. And what happens is the barrier goes up. Why? Because the person's thinking, whoa, I'm going to get a sales presentation here. Two things that make people resistant. One is, the fact that you're going to sell them something, so they're defending themselves against being sold. And the other thing is if they are interested somewhat, okay, it's like, how long is this going to take? And the longer you present, the more barriers go up because they get bored. All right. So change is really important. So in this desire to succeed, you've got to accept change, and accept change in yourself, and accept the fact that you are prepared to do what it takes to go from here to here. So that's kind of the tricky part. The other part is that you've got to take action. Third part is take action.
That's okay.
Don't take action. Does anything change? No. And that's the same thing when you're talking with people. You'll talk with people, you'll find that they have problems that you can help them solve. You'll find out sort of what's going on in the background, which is essential. And an essential part of it is to find out how willing they are to make a change. And if they're not willing to make a change, do you think they're going to buy your service, product, or solution? Yes or no? No. But you could force them. I mean, you could sort of pressure them, like a lot of network marketers do. You could pressure them to do that. Then what happens? They'll buy it. They'll make the initial payment just to get you off their backs. And then what happens after that?
They disappear.
They disappear. And the reason, and you'll end up by saying, but they had so much potential. They would make such a great distributor. They make us such a great independent rep. If only they would do this. I don't know why they don't do it. Sort of, how can I get them to do it? And it's all based on what? It's all based on the person who's saying that, sort of, their need for this other person to want to do it. And a question I ask is, always ask, are your needs greater than theirs? Is your need to build your business based on any circumstances whatsoever greater than their need to be able to solve something and make their lives better? And how do you make their lives better? What does your solution mean to them, making their lives better? Is this making sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes. I have a question.
Well, I'm having fun, even if you're not.
Wait. I have a question.
I have a question. I'm going to a new environment where the people there seem to have enough money. Okay, and how else can what else do they need, in quote, because the whole idea of the business is to help people become financially independent and have the freedom to do whatever they need. But like where I'm going to the Middle East, and the women there, because I've lived there before, most of them, their husbands are not, they don't work because they can afford to travel, do whatever. So they don't do anything. So in that case, how do I engage them to see?
Well, you could ask them questions such as, so if you're talking to women like that, you can get to this point. You have to ask this question directly. You ask them, so I hear your husband doesn't work and you travel a lot. Do you like the lifestyle that you have, where you're traveling? And they might say yes or no. Okay, don't be attached to the answer. It doesn't matter whether they say yes or no. I don't care what people say, yes or no. It's their truth. Usually there are two truths. There are two truths. If I ask you if you love where you live, and you say, oh, I love it, I think it's great. And I ask you another question and said, would you live somewhere else if you could? The chances are you would probably say yes. Or you said, I'd love to have a vacation home somewhere to get away from whatever, okay? So people aren't always 100% when they say they love something. And not always, most times they're not. And so I ask them, say, so, do you like to travel all the time? And they go, yeah, I love it. So tell me what you like about it. And they tell you, say, look, have you ever worked before? I mean, don't be rude, but have you ever sort of had a job or worked before? And they might say no, yes or no. And if they say no, you can say something to the effect of, have you ever been intrigued about doing some work, working for someone, working for a cause, working for yourself or anything like that? And they'll say yes or no. Or if they have worked, you say, so do you ever miss it? They say yes or no. And so you advance your questions along those lines. And out of there, if you start getting clues such as, yes, I do miss my work. So tell me, what do you miss about it? Well, I miss this, 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 and this. Okay, and you're not finding that in your present life? Well, no, not really. So what's important to you about that? What's important to you about doing that? Filling that gap or having that in your life if it was possible. And they'll tell you. And you say, so what if there's a way you could actually do that? What if there's a way you could do that and help people as well at the same time? Have you ever looked at ideas? You ever thought about something like that? See where this is going?
Yes.
Can you guys do that?
Yeah.
So you guys can do that. I mean, that's possible for you to do. Does that answer your question, or whoever answered it?
It helps.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So that gives you a clue as to how you develop a conversation. They would tell you, what's going on in their life. And sometimes people in very in positions like that would do this kind of thing because it gets them out of the house. It enables them to meet people. It expands their minds, their social circle. Some people do it because they want to help people. And even that conversation is, a person might say to you, even if you present it and say, yeah, tell me, what do you actually do? And you tell them what you do. There's a way of doing that. And you tell them what you do. They say, well, that sounds very interesting. But, that's not something that I necessarily would be interested. But, I know a couple of people who would be. And so you treat it as very casual conversation. Does that dog understand English?
Ronnie has a question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
With the oil and gas crash in Alberta, a lot of people are out of work, and there are a lot of my friends that are out of work. And when approaching them after talking to them and everything, talking about their reasoning for not joining or not starting a business is because they don't have the money because they're unemployed. Even when I try to tell them that this is a great opportunity for them and a good time because they could start their own company and they wouldn't have to rely on somebody else or work for anybody else. So how do you bypass that? How do you get over that hump where they say that they don't have the money to invest?
Well, there's a couple of things here. You obviously have sort of, and this isn't sort of accusing or anything, but you've gone into a bit of a telling mode, telling them that there's a great opportunity at this time, especially at this time, and intellectually they know that. Okay, so you're already telling them something that they know. But what probably hasn't happened is that you haven't gone into the deeper levels, into to their heart buttons, as to why this is a really good opportunity. You think you might have conveyed the why. I think they know the why, but that isn't necessarily so. But so I just want to give you that idea that you could have a different conversation with them perhaps, and get a different, if you like, response. But here's the thing: the lack of money is really not a problem. It's what's causing the lack of money. A lot of people have a sort of a money problem. They don't have a sort of wealth mindset problem. But that's kind of another issue. But here's how you address something like that: is that there's a couple of ways you can do it. You ask what I call a solution question. You say, so tell me, what are you going to do then? Okay, you put it back on them. You don't persuade them. You don't tell them what a great opportunity is that you should be doing it. You say, so let me ask you, what are you going to do then? And you don't know what the answer is going to be, and you don't get attached to the answer. You just take the answer and you run with the answer. And it might be, give me an answer if you want, and I'll help you here. What could someone answer? You say, so what are you going to do then? How could they possibly answer?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. So here's a great answer, question to that one. So what would it be if you did know?
What would it be if you did know?
Okay, so give me another. Okay, so it's like I don't know. So I would say, so what would it be if you didn't know? I mean, obviously you're stuck here. So what are you going to do? What choices do you have? Not other choices. What choices do you have? Give me an answer again, someone.
Find another job.
Find another job. Okay, so how successful have you been so far?
Not very.
You know, and how successful do you think you're going to be?
Well, there's no job out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the alternative for you then? What else can you do?
Start my own business.
Win the lottery. Win the lottery.
Yeah.
Win the lottery.
You surprising. You see these questions. You don't ask these questions subconsciously. They might seem sort of obvious to you, but this is part of the process. This is part of the dialogue. The natural selling dialogue is you're asking a person, and you're helping them take responsibility for where they are. Okay, it's got nothing to do with the oil prices, you know, Saudi Arabia and so on and so forth. It's about us taking responsibility for where we are in our lives. You know, I'm 100% responsible for where I am in my life. It doesn't matter what happens to me or anything. I'm 100% responsible. I cause everything that happens to me based on my thinking, my words, my actions, and so on and so forth. And most people, do you think they think that way, or do you think they become victims of life?
Many are victims. Yeah.
They become victims of life. And so what you do is you help people start becoming victorious by asking these questions. And, you know, and it's almost like tough love. It's like saying, so what are you going to do then? Not coming from a timid place saying, but I've got a great opportunity and you should buy into this, and you're trying to sell them, okay, which is based on your needs for them to want to do something so you can get something out of it. Take it all off yourself. Put your own needs up on the shelf. Put it up here somewhere and focus on them, and start drilling into them and giving a bit of tough love, especially in that kind of situation. So what are you going to do then? Well, I don't know. Okay, so what would you do if you did know? I just don't know. So what would you do if you could do anything? There's another question. So what would you do then if you could do anything? Well, I'd probably do this. Okay, so what's preventing you from doing that? Usually it's money. So how are you going to find the money? There's another question. So how are you going to find the money? Right? And the same with your business. Here's another question that's a very powerful one. So let me ask you, if you had the money, okay, you're out of work, but if you had the money, would you get involved in a business, whether it's this business or my business or something else? Would you get involved in business? And the chances are they probably say yes. Okay, so you get to that point, say yes. You say, so 1 out of 10 being that you'd absolutely be involved in creating your own business so you can start taking care of yourself and your family once again. What number would you give yourself? And if they give you anything less than a 10, 8 or 9, you don't say, so what would it make a 10? You say, so you're not that interested then. Okay, so you keep on drilling in. And if you're coming from this place where I'm coming from, you can do that effectively because you're doing it with love, and you're not doing it because you're trying to make a sale. You're doing it with love, helping this person get out of where they want to go. Because until they get out of where they are, until they get out of where they are, you're not going to help them to get where they want to go. So you're helping them to get out of where they are. Almost like a psychologist, if you like. You know, you're the doctor. You've got a white coat on with a stethoscope around your neck, and you're putting the thing in your ear, and you're putting your thing against their chest and going, tell me more. Tell me where it hurts. And how does that feel when it's hurting? How would you like to get out of that feeling of hurt and start moving forward into a feeling of love and harmony and bliss and stuff like this? Okay, you're not saying these things because I think you're crazy, but that's sort of I mean, I would. I mean, so I'd say those things in certain circumstances because it's, you know, to me, it's not kind of, you know, it's a sort of fun thing to do, helping people. See where I'm going? So you say to them, so if you had the money, would you do it if you could? And they say yes. What's the next? Okay, so what's the next question then? Here's a good one for you. So they say, yeah, I do. If I had the money, yeah, I'd do it. Okay. So what's the next question? Don't jump in with the solution. That's a clue.
What would you do?
What are you going to do?
Cool. So how are you going to find the money? Look, entering into what's the minimum entry fee into your
169.
169? Okay, what's the next one up?
699.
699. The reality is anyone can find 169. Anyone can find $1,000. You know, anyone can do that. If I was to say to you right now, you know, to each one of you separately and said, look, you know, I was your doctor, and I said, look, I'm really sorry, I've got some bad news for you. You basically got 6 months to live. However, there's a way that because of whatever reason, and there's nothing we can do about it except for a very expensive operation. We can't do that here. It would have to be done abroad. There's a couple of specialists abroad. So you'd have to fly out to do that. And they charge a lot of money. It's about $120,000 to do just for the operation. And you don't have the money. Do you think you'd find the $120,000 within the 6 months? Yes or no?
Yes.
And this is the same situation. It's like, you know, especially you guys in Alberta, is that people are hurting. It's no different than having 6 months to live. You know, people are hurting. Families are hurting. Everyone's hurting. But people are stuck in their own minds as to what a job is, and they've let themselves be kind of drawn into this, and instead of planning for the future and whatever, they go to work at whatever it is and do their 12-hour shift or 8-hour shift, right? And they don't think that, you know, there's stuff that's happening. You know, the economy is slowing down. There's an oil crisis happening. A lot of people, they don't start looking elsewhere or changing what they're doing, preparing for the future because it's good money, and they just keep on going and doing it. Suddenly, bang. The same as my business. My business has ups and downs because things change all the time. Is this helpful?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I should be ducking out in a second. Is it okay if I sort of wrap it up, Anne-Marie? I appreciate you inviting me to this. Is there anything compelling that you
There's
need?
one thing that I was going to ask you towards the
Sure.
end, so right now would be a good time, is what would you suggest, you know, in terms of steps that a new distributor could take to learn those, you know, rather questions, or how to get into natural selling, or basically I want you to sell us your course here.
Sure.
Not necessarily, no, but
Well,
what would you
the question is, raise your hands if you like to understand the philosophy behind this, and also practical steps, so questions to ask and so on. So raise your hands if that's something you'd like to do. Okay, great. So here's what you can do very, very easily. Go to my website, write this down, naturalselling.com. And there is a free e-course there called 7 Steps to Rejection-Free Natural Selling. And it'll give you the background. It'll tell you why people have a fear. Maybe you have a fear, or get sort of tense before talking with people. Why you get rejected, why you get objections, and then what you can do about it. All right? And it's based on 4 principles. There are 5 actually. One is the law of detachment. There are 4 solid principles. They're real principles. They're not kind of techniques. They're principles, and you build your foundation on top of the principles. If you understand the principles of philosophy or something, you know the mechanics are really easy. And then the rest of the book is devoted to setting up to asking the right types of questions at the right time. It's not just about right questions; it's right types of questions, understanding them. So you go through that, and you start getting an understanding, then start implementing it. So you'll have an opportunity. You can get my book, and get my book right now. Just go to the website. It's I'll show it to you. Well, Anne-Marie's got it there. It's $20, and you know, and learn from that. If you want to take it further, occasionally I put on some training sessions, one of which Anne-Marie is on right now, to go sort of deeper, to understand the whole thing, and also to help people, if you like, to your teams to understand it. It's sort of a lifelong learning process. So that's the best thing you can do if you want to do that, and then take action on what you learn. Again, does anything change if you don't take action? No. So I encourage you, every single one of you, right away, you know, as soon as you leave, or if you've got a computer there, just get online, register for that e-course. It's a free e-course. I'm going to be selling it. It won't be much, but I'm putting a price on it, $15 in the future. There's a reason to do that, because people who dip their hand in their pocket, are more serious than people who just download something for free and never look at it. Here's a clue for you. If you want to get people committed, make sure that they dip their hand in their pocket or their purse or whatever, because there's so much free stuff out there that no one ever looks at free stuff. But as soon as you're committed to paying for something, then you're going to look at it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So do that, and then there's a progression from there. And if you like it, we can sort of move on, or we can create a workshop in Calgary or in Alberta, or we can do all sorts of things to sort of advance your learning, and you get much more information from that book there. Is that, yeah, you okay with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank
All
you.
right.
So who had a question?
I just wanted to hear from him on his experience with Deepak, how that happened and what you got out of that training with Deepak Chopra.
Did you hear that, Michael?
No, I didn't. No.
I just wanted to ask you how you come upon meeting Deepak Chopra and taking his program and what you got out of that.
Okay.
You got, I don't know what time you got. We're all here.
All right. Okay. So to honor that question, I'll answer the question for you. When I first started doing this, I started in I came up with the name Natural Selling in 1997. In 1998, I did my first teleconferencing training, and I'd give free introduction teleconferencing trainings, and I had 18 people on my first call, and I didn't have a teleconferencing line. So basically, I sort of daisy chained people in. So I'd call people. You know how you can three-way call? So I'd three-way call. They would three-way call. They would three-way call. So we had this sort of daisy chain, which was really nerve-wracking before I even started, because only one person only had to sort of drop the phone or hang up, and we load of people got cut off. So I did that teleconferencing. And then I got out. I started speaking in front of people as many times as I could, from anywhere from 5 to 100. Maximum I've spoken to is 7,500, and sort of building up and working out, the approach. And as I was doing this, primarily in actually in Calgary, in Alberta, and here, and in the States, just a couple of parts of the States. People come up to me and start talking with me sort of in a holistic way, and asking me and letting me know that certain things I was saying and doing were very holistic. And I intrinsically felt it, but I didn't know what was. I didn't really fully understand it. I knew that I was coming from a holistic level. I didn't even use those words, but people were teaching me about the holistic side of this, and I was learning as well. And then I had an occasion to go to, in year 2000, about 2 or 3 years later, occasion to go to La Jolla. I went to La Jolla in California, primarily because it was the most expensive zip code, and I wanted to go there and hang out. I mean, it's kind of a wealth mindset thing, right? And I very quickly, I was already getting into this mindset, and I very quickly found an apartment. People said to me, "You'll never find one." Well, as it turned out, I got a 2-bedroom apartment, 2 stories, 1.5 blocks from the beach. And what I also discovered, it was 1.5 blocks from the Chopra Center. Chopra Center was in La Jolla at that time. And I bought 7 Spiritual Laws of Success book, which is this one here. It doesn't have the cover on it because the cover is getting a bit wrecked, and I don't want to wreck it. This is the original book, which was signed by Deepak. And I went to the beach and started reading it. And as I started reading it, I recognized why people were resonating with the 4 principles that I was talking about. Why people were resonating with what I was teaching them. Because within here, it covered those. It didn't cover the 4 principles, but the 4 principles were sort of went hand in glove with the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, which is the book that I got. And so they just linked. They're just a natural blend. All I had to do was make a couple of adjustments in the wording of the 4 principles, and it just came together. And so it exploded in my mind. And I realized this is really what it was all about. And so after that, I went to the Chopra Center and said, "Look, do you have a course in 7 Spiritual Laws of Success?" And they said, "No, I haven't even thought about it, etc." And so I would go. I'd continue going there. I'd hang out there, just to take in the atmosphere. I'd meditate in the mornings and evenings there because it was a beautiful meditation room. And it disciplined me because it was half an hour and I couldn't get out of the room. So I had to meditate. You know, as my meditation, as my meditation instructor said, you know, you've got nothing to do, nowhere to go. So meditate, you know, so I spent a weekend disciplining my mind to meditate, right? And that's how we start off. He said, you know, let your mind go, relax, you know, and just remember there's nothing to do, nowhere to go, you know, so meditate. So we meditated. So that gave me the discipline. And then after I asked about the course, I got a call about a month later because I left my number there, and they said, you know, you were inquiring about a 7 Spiritual Laws course. We're actually going to do one. Would you like to get involved? And I said, yes. You know, I remember what it was. It was $1,700 to do that. It was a 5-day course, and I took it. And there's a small group of us. There's about 8, 9 people, and it was a really great experience. And what we did was to go through the 7 Spiritual Laws and get a really good understanding. And it was great bonding, and it was a magical moment. You know, each day was just fabulous. It was almost as though I was floating on air, you know. And then after that, I looked at it thinking, I wonder if there's a way I could get accredited to teach the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, because I really liked it. It fitted in with what I was doing here, right? And so I went, knocked on the door, and said, is there a course? And they said, no course, nothing coming up, you know. And about 5, 6 weeks later, got a telephone call. Were you inquiring about a course on instructing 7 Spiritual Laws of Success? I said, yeah. And I'm manifesting this, right? Part of this is that you know, we manifest what we think, right? And other things were happening too. And it was just a wonderful period of life where things were just working out, manifesting. And I'm going, I created this course. This is brilliant. So I went around, I paid my whatever it is, $2,500, $3,000, and did this course. And we go through, and we'd have to make we had to be on the previous course. So we had to make presentations at random on one of the 7 Spiritual Laws or 2 of the spiritual laws. And what I did was I blended natural selling into it. So when I had to do my presentation in front of the class and they would critique it and so on, as I blended natural selling into it. And my instructor said to me, so you didn't really follow the rules, did you? And I said, no, you know, I'm not a rule follower. And he said, well, I thought it was brilliant the way you blended in natural selling, and I'm going to give you a pass anyway. And he said, you know, that was really, really good the way you did that. So I said, thank you. And I got my accreditation to teach as a certified trainer in natural selling and 7 Spiritual Laws of, 7 Spiritual Laws of Success in the workplace. And so I then sort of put out the vibes that I'd like to teach this at the Chopra Center. So I was thinking, how do I go about this? How do I go about teaching at the Chopra Center? How do I make a program called Natural Selling and the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success? So I quietly meditated on this for a few weeks, and I get a call from my instructor who lives in Scottsdale, Arizona. He said, Michael, I'm flying in tomorrow. Do you have time for lunch? I said, absolutely. I said, and even if I didn't, I would make time. So we had lunch around a nice little restaurant outside around the corner. And he said, Deepak and I have been talking, and he wants to come up with a corporate program. And I said, hold it. I know what you're going to ask. And he said, what? I said, you're going to ask me if I can do a program, Natural Selling and 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. And he said, yeah. I said, so how do you know that? I said, how do I know that? I said, you taught me this stuff. You know, it's like manifesting what you want. So he said, yeah, this is true. He said, would you be interested? And I said, sure. So we spoke about it. And he said, I'll get you an answer this afternoon. And he actually called back late in the afternoon. He said, we're on. And so I created this course. And we did Natural Selling and the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success at the new Chopra Center as it was being built at that time up in Carlsbad, California. So that was a very, very long story, and I'm going to blame you for asking the question.
Well, thank you for sharing that. It's a beautiful story.
And that's kind of the story behind it. And every now and then, maybe once every 3 years, I do a course on it. And we bring in meditation, yoga, all sorts of things. It's a very contemplative place to be.
I would be interested in that.
So just to wrap up, can I do this? I'd love to get a little bit of feedback. I always like doing this. Anne-Marie will tell you. Get a bit of feedback, a quick aha from 2 or 3 of you. What did you get out? First thing that comes to mind. What did you get out of it? Just a few seconds. and you can't repeat what somebody else has said. Would you prepare to do that? Just to give me a bit of feedback here for me and for you as well, right? Okay, thank you. There's a lady there with the glasses on who's on the picture there, and yes, you know who you're talking. You're staring at me. You've got an open door behind you and 2 pictures on your wall. You just raised your hand. Would you like to say something?
Yes. I thought that I do not continue to drill down farther. I'm stopping.
Okay.
I need to continue.
All right.
Because like you said, we think we have the solution. We may have the solution, but we have to get them to tell us that we're their solution.
Okay. Very good.
If that may be what it is.
Okay. Yeah. So if you haven't already done so, take that e-course and get the book. And if you ever want to put together something, there's a kind of a faster way of doing it. You can, what I call drilling down deep and faster. They're heart buttons. But thank you. Okay, Bob. Thank you. All right. Anyone else who'd like to a quick feedback here? Aha moment, light bulb moment. Ooh.
Not to talk about the business. when you're talking
Not to talk about.
The business.
about the business, the company.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, you will. Unless it's appropriate to do so, right? Yeah. And there's a way you can talk about your business when someone asks you what to do. You'll read in the book a fabulous way of responding to someone when they say to you, "What do you do?" Okay. There's a very, very strong way of capturing it. So you can get that out of the book as well. Thank you. Okay. Anyone else?
Very good points about not even thinking about the business. It's all about them. And for us, being in this business, that's always in the back of our mind. That's kind of the motivator. But now you just completely flip that around. Business is second. It's at the end of the train. It's all about them. And thank you very much.
You're welcome. And how do you feel about that?
That's good. Basically,
okay.
I was thinking the other day, when I go to bed at night, I pray for people that are sick that I know about and my circle of friends and all that. People that have had losses in their lives, somebody passed away or whatever, and physical things or whatever. And then I was thinking on a bigger scale, I said, you know what, or emotional. I was thinking that pretty much includes everybody in the world, so I've got a lot of praying to do.
Yeah, you got a lot of people to potentially help, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And just that little tweaking today of it's all about the other person, nothing else, I think will really help.
Good. Okay. Thank you. Anybody else would like to have a quick share, aha moment at all, what they got out of today?
Yeah, just not to or to detach myself from the outcome. Where you're with somebody, talking with somebody, and not worrying about what they're saying or whether or not they're interested or not. Just detach myself from that.
Okay. Here's a little saying for you: let go of the outcome, and you'll increase your income. Here's another thing you can do as well. If follow me on Facebook, if you like, go and look up Michael Oliver /natural selling. Anne-Marie will get that to you. It's my community page, natural selling community page. Okay. I think it's Michael Oliver /natural selling. I've got 2 there. One's my personal page. You can do that as well if you want. Go to the community page, and I put up daily quotes every now and then. I'm going to get more active on that page as well, and you get a lot of information there. Okay. Anyone else before we go?
Yes. For me, it was asking myself if the need to build my business is greater than the need to help the people I'm talking to, getting to know them better.
Okay. So that again, I was missing a little bit.
If the need to build my business is greater than the need to actually help and get to know the people I'm talking to.
Okay, so you're going to reverse that and change that, right? Into that, is that
so that the need to help and is greater than the need to build my business.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So also be a little bit careful here as well. Okay, because your need to help, okay, is also a need, right? So let go. So here's the thing: let go of all your needs. Let go of everything. There are hundreds of needs. The more you can let go of them, the more you find that you are in your real self. Okay, that's your real self. So some people get trapped into this need to help this person, and you can only help a person if they want to be helped. Okay, you cannot help people unless they want to be helped. You can't solve a problem for someone unless they are prepared to solve the problem themselves. Okay, you can help them solve it, but you can't solve it for them. And a lot of times we think we can. So that's another need. My need to get, it's like my mother. She was on drugs in the last years of her life, and I knew that she could, and they had all sorts of side effects. And then I knew that if she went on nutritional supplements, she could replace, just a small number of those drugs and get rid of some of the side effects. But and I found myself that I was starting to pressure, and I backed off because it was my need for her to do it was overwhelming her need to stay on the drugs, because she would listen to a doctor, not to me. So I just had to let go and let it happen. And it was hard, but it's one of those things you've got to let go. So be very, very careful about needs. Thank you. All right. So thanks for the feedback. And that was real fun. You got a good group there, Anne-Marie.
Thank you. Yes, you did.
And thanks so much, everyone. And I really appreciate it. And hope to meet you all sometime. Well, I already have. Okay, bye.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you so much, Michael. And really, really appreciate this. And I will see you on Tuesday. Have a good flight to England.
Yeah, leave on Monday night.
Oh, okay. I thought somehow you'd be there today.
That's okay. You just weren't listening. Okay. You got a point there. I still get a point from Razul. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.